When you have an ache or a pain or a niggle or something that's bothering you, how long do you wait before you get help? Whether that's going to see a massage therapist, physio, osteo, or doing self-care on your own, like doing stretches or activation exercises or conditioning work. Today, I want to talk about a pattern that we see in some people, in a certain group of our clients, and it's something that I also struggle with, and look at why does this pattern happen and can we change it? So if you're someone who waits until it's really bad before you get help, why is that? And what would need to be different for you to change that so that you either start helping yourself or go to get help earlier? Now, there are some caveats to this question. So this won't apply to everyone. There are different reasons why people can't get help or can't do things. But I want to explore this pattern today. I'll explain who it won't apply to. And if you are someone that sees this pattern in yourself, talk about why don't we change that? What would need to happen to change that? So hi, my name is Catherine. I'm the founder and principal therapist of LSM Clinic, a sport and remedial massage therapy clinic in East London. In this channel, I share information about how the body works and self-care tips so that you can live your life and enjoy your favorite activities pain-free or as close to pain-free as possible. So if you enjoy this kind of content, I would absolutely love it if you subscribe, like the video, that helps more people to see it. And if you'd like to get updates and stories and tips to your email, I send 3 emails a month or monthly summary, and the link to subscribe is below. So the question is, how long do you wait before getting help? And if you wait until it's really bad, can we change that? And why? Why is this the pattern? Now, the 2 caveats that I wanted to say before we dive in is, number 1, there are absolutely people who are not able to get help because they either don't have the financial resources to pay someone to help them to go see a practitioner, they don't have access for some reason, or they don't have any time to do any self-care. Those are absolutely valid experiences. So if that's you, this probably isn't referring to you. And I do want to say, I specify the time thing as well, because you don't necessarily need to have money to be able to help yourself. There's a lot of stuff that you can do on your own. Obviously, it's often faster if you can have someone work on you. But, I don't ever want anybody to think, well, I don't have any money to pay someone, so I'm just stuck with this. But some people also don't have the time to find those moments for themselves, even if it's just a couple minute stretch. The other caveat is there are absolutely some people for whom being completely pain-free is not available. There are people who have chronic conditions, they live in chronic pain that there is no cure for, and they have had to accept that they're going to have some level of pain pretty much every day of their life. Now, yes, there are things that people can do depending on the condition to decrease how much pain they're in, and some people within certain subsets of conditions may be able to get pain-free. But I'm talking about setting the standard of being pain-free for yourself, and that's not going to be available to everyone. So if that is you, if you're someone who has a chronic condition and really, even if you did everything right, you'd probably still be in pain, I totally get it. And this is not, I'm not including you in this question conversation, but you're welcome to watch if that is you. Who I am talking about are people who have a low-level ache or pain that they ignore or deal with or push through for months and sometimes years, and only get help if and when it stops them from being functional. So they might be a runner who has knee pain and they run because they can still run with the knee pain. It's not that bad, but then it gets so bad that they literally can't run, and then they get help. The knee pain has stopped them from being able to do their chosen activity. There are people who have neck or shoulder or lower back pain, and it's an ache, and they deal with it, but they kind of ignore it. They kind of try to push through, and they won't get help until they're not able to function at work, or they're not able to play with their kids, or they're not able to move anymore. Now, again, I'm not talking about people who have sought out help and haven't been able to find a resolution, but people who they kind of know that they can go and get help, but they just won't, or they won't do their self-care because it's not bad enough. And this is the thing that I want to talk about, is Why do so many of us have this idea that if pain or an ache or a problem is not bad enough, that we deserve to just live with it, that it's not worth the effort to do something about it? Now, one of the reasons that I was thinking about this is because I was recently looking at myself because I have this problem for sure. Last year, I had a goal that I wanted to get a massage every month. I know that regular massages help me with some aches and pains that pop up from time to time. I know that even if I don't have a pain going in, I'm going to feel lighter, and it helps me supplement my my self care. And I run a massage therapy clinic. Like, I have people I can just go and book, and it's close to me and it's easy. And, so when I got to December last year, and before December, I'd only had two massages the whole year, I'm pretty sure. And then I had two more in December because at that point, my lower back was bothering me quite a bit. I had wrist pain that was new. My knee pain had popped up, and I wasn't able to rotate. And my neck was bothering me in rotation as well. Um, and so, of course, I go into the massage and I booked 90 minutes. And I was like, here are all the things. And my lovely team member was just like, that is way too much to cover in 90 minutes, like properly. And so that's why I ended up having two. But I was just thinking to myself, like, I know this. Like, I know that I don't have to have this. I know the stuff that I can do at home. And at that point, I'd also kind of stop doing my self care. And it got me thinking, we have so many people that come in and they may have been clients before and then they come back, or they may have been referred months before when they had the problem, but didn't come to see us until, again, it was so bad they couldn't work. They couldn't do what they wanted to do. And so, why do we have this pattern? And I'm interested, sometimes just asking the questions brings it to awareness. It might be worth looking at yourself and going, are there niggles or aches and pains that I just live with? Because in my mind, it's not bad enough to do anything about it, whether that's seeing someone or doing something on your own. Why does it have to be bad enough? Why is it not worth our time and effort to have a standard, if it's available to us, to be pain-free, that we deserve to be pain-free? So if you've been around for a while, if you've ever talked to me, you've probably heard me say that I think that unnecessary pain that we can get rid of, is something that really makes the world a worse place on an individual interaction basis. And I don't think I've said it on these videos for a while. So just to reiterate, when you have pain, even if it's just a little bit of pain, you are going to be grumpier. You are going to have less patience. You're not going to sleep as well. So you're not going to feel as good as you could if you have an ache or a pain. And that's going to have a ripple effect. You're also not going to have as much energy, because when we have pain, or when our muscles are so tight that it's heavy and everything takes more effort, or if you have something that you're kind of unconsciously avoiding, all of that takes energy and focus to the point where you're going to have less energy available for you. And we know that if we're grumpy and short-tempered and tired, we're not going to be as kind to people around us, and that's going to have a ripple effect. So I've always felt like if we could get rid of all the unnecessary pain in the world would be better. Maybe not on a macro systemic level because of everything going on, but at least on an individual level, we could have more capacity to be kinder, to be more patient, to just interact with each other better, because we don't have those negative side effects of the pain that we're carrying around. So all that said, what would happen if you decided that you would raise your own standard, and the first time that you had an ache or pain, you did something about it? And again, that doesn't have to be going to see someone. Going to see someone can make it easier. And I personally really like just saying, can you please work on this for me? But there's loads of stuff that you can do on your own, and loads of this stuff in the channel. Now, if you ask yourself this, it's worth noticing, how do you feel? How is the reaction? Because I was trying to think for myself, what is it that makes me feel like it's not really worth me making the effort to do whatever, whether it's my self-care or going to see one of my team, when I'm starting to get these aches, pains, and niggles? Why do I not feel like I'm prioritizing it? And I think some of the reasons can be that there can be a feeling of guilt or unfairness, that there are so many people who are suffering that don't have the option to opt out of that suffering, that me making a fuss over my little bit of neck pain or my little bit of lower back pain seems like spoiled or self-centered. And almost like there's this thing running in the back of my head of like, oh, well, I don't deserve to go and do this because it's so privileged of me to be able to address this when so many people can't. But the truth is that us staying in pain doesn't actually help the people who are in pain, right? Unless you're literally like abandoning your community work to make time for your self-care. Like it's not going to, you being in pain at any level is not going to help the people who are suffering. And actually, again, going back to like the thing I said about pain impacting your day-to-day life, the better care you can take of yourself should give you more capacity to help other people who need it. There is also this feeling of it's not really worth the effort because like, and this is kind of a weird one, and especially for me, because like, like for example, the chest stretch that I do, like you lay down for 2 minutes in bed with your arms like this. And sometimes I lay in bed and I'm like, I just don't feel like it, right? I just don't feel like doing it. And I'm like, I was like, why is it not worth the effort for me to do this 2 minute stretch or 30 second to 60 second glute activation when I know it's going to help me? It's not that much time. And I think that kind of comes back to a lot of us are taught that like our value, how we can help other people and our relationship to other people, can we be a good spouse? Can we be a good employee? Can we be a good parent? Can we be a good friend? Like we're often really focusing on like putting our needs last to help other people. And I absolutely don't believe that we should be like selfish and not care about anybody. But I think sometimes we take it to an extreme where we don't do anything for ourselves and we spend all of our energy on other people. And I'm sure you've heard this, you can't pour from an empty cup. I don't know why I did quotations there. You can't pour from an empty cup. And it's true because literally you will have nothing to give. You will run out, you will burn out. And as someone who suffered from burnout and it took years to recover, you don't show up for people the same way when you're recovering from burnout. You have so much less energy. And obviously burnout's like a bigger conversation, but to come back to specifically pain, that sucks out your energy much more quickly than if you deal with it. And it also helps when you're doing self-care of your body, it also does help with your nervous system. Right? And then the last thing that I think is important to be aware of when we're ignoring these low-level aches and pains is that these low-level aches and pains, if they are ignored, can escalate into something that is much more damaging and can require much more intensive intervention. Like people who have some back pain and some instability, but don't do ab activation and glute activation and flexibility work in supporting the spine, that can then lead to more significant things happening with the back that can lead to surgery. Like, we've seen people where they have muscle problems in their shoulder and then they ignore it and they keep doing weight training and then they significantly tear one of their rotator cuff muscles and then, they have to take off for weeks while it heals. Same thing with knee pain. If you're running through knee pain when it's low level, you're really setting yourself for an injury that could take you out of running for months. So the earlier that you can address something, the less time and money it takes, and the less likely it is that it's going to become something serious. So after all that having been said, what do you think? If you are someone who's like, yeah, I do kind of ignore my aches and pains and I do just kind of push through until it's really bad, what would it feel like to try to change that standard for yourself? To think, actually, I have pain-free accessible to me and I have either the time or the money to be able to do stuff on my own and or get help from someone else, and I'm going to make that my new standard. How does that feel? Would you be able to do that? It might bring some stuff up and it's always interesting to see what it brings up. I really think it's worth it. And I know that I've said a lot about like getting help or self-care. I just want to reiterate that like it doesn't have to be very time intensive. If you are limited on time, my channel is full of very short, quick, easy tips that you can incorporate in your day-to-day life to help you with various things. We've got resources for people who work at a desk. We've got our desk worker workshop for posture and the chest stretch. We've got glute activation playlist, just loads of stuff. So I'll put some links in the description below, just like you can look at things. But definitely, like if you'd like more tips about how to take care of yourself, subscribe to the email, which is linked below. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified when we run more videos. And if you decide to try this and you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to try to be more proactive or be more intentional when I'm feeling a pain or an ache. Let me know below. And if you try it, I'd love to hear how it goes. So thank you so much for watching. Again, if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you click that like button to let other people know, like to make it show to more people. And I will see you in the next video.